Okay, this is where we're going to begin our journey using Elementor templates to build our website. And this is something you don't see every day, which is a blank WordPress page. Eventually, this is going to be our homepage. Let's have a look at how I'm setting everything up. So first, I'm using the Generate Press theme, and I like it a lot. It's very popular. There's a lot of really good things you can do with it. You'll see that with Elementor, the theme sort of takes a back seat to everything. And I'm just going to show you one other setting or something that's kind of important here. And of course, I did this beforehand. I set up some global settings in in Generate Press. And what I did was basically, let's go over here. I disabled a whole lot of elements. And that's a good idea here because I'm going to let Elementor really take over. Yeah, this applies across the entire site. And that's really the important settings here. As for Elementor, let's just take a look at these settings over here. These two are really important because these are not the default settings. The default settings don't have these checked off. I want to set my own global colors and global fonts, so that's the reason why I have these checked off. Of course, I saved here. There's nothing really here that's in these areas over here. We don't have to explore anything because I'm just going to leave it as the defaults. And with that, oh yeah, the plugins, all I'm using is Elementor Pro, because Elementor Pro has the theme builder elements to it, which is important. And also I'm using the Generate Press premium version. That's it. So, what you see is exactly what you're going to get, I guess. Anyway, so, one last thing too, and this will come into play later on. That is, I've already set up a menu for this demonstration, and the menu over here is just very simple. We just have a couple of pages because that's all we need to work with for this presentation. Now, let's look at pages. And I'm going to start and basically finish with the home page. So you can see I've already opened it up once in Elementor. That's the reason why you get this little Elementor notification here. And we can edit with Elementor. And let's just do that. All right. Now, what I'm going to do for this demonstration really is just use nothing but templates. And I'm going to create my home page with a template. So I click on over here. And I see that I have all these templates that I could use. And of course, any one of these can be edited to meet your styling requirements. That's one of the benefits of using a template, is that it's, pre-built, and then you just go ahead and change it. I've already picked one out. So the one I'm going to pick is stored in my favorites right over here. And let's use this one over here. And we're going to insert it into the page. Now, these templates, I believe, come just with the free version. I have to say that, having used Elementor for a while now, I've kind of lost track of what's free and what's the pro version. I know the theme builder stuff is all the pro version. And if you do use Elementor really on any serious level, you want to get the pro version. It's not that expensive, and it gives you a whole lot of goodies, and it doesn't make any sense not to get it. All right, so let's have a look. Now, if you're not familiar with Elementor, I'm going to take you through this. It's not really complicated. It has a common architecture to every page. Every page is made up of sections. Sections contain columns. Columns contain widgets. Widgets are, in Gutenberg talk, that would be blocks. For example, here, I'll give you an easier one to see. Right over here, this is a section. Okay, and it's just, you can just see a border going all around it. And then over here, that's a column, yeah. And if I wanted to edit the column, I would just click on this over here. And inside the column is the actual widget. In this case, this widget is like a heading. This widget's a text box, and so forth. So as it turns out, for this demonstration, I don't need all these sections, and I'm just going to remove almost all of them. So we're going to just get rid of this one here. And I don't need this one over here. And I don't need this one over here. Okay, perfect. These are the only sections I'm really going to need. I'm going to add a section later on too. So for my first section over here, well, I want to change this guy. Okay, so this guy is a background image. If you know about CSS, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And in order to get access to change him, he's in the section. So I want to make sure I'm clicking in the section. It does say section over here. I'm going to move this just a little bit so I can see this a little better. And then, so now I'm working in the section. And whenever you're working with any of these, whether it's a section, a column, a widget, you're usually going to see three tabs over here. You'll either see, layout or content, style, and then advanced. Okay, so, well, style, this kind of makes sense. And as I said, it's a background image. So in Elementor talk, that's a background overlay. And here's our guy. Now I want to change him. So what I'm going to do is click on him. I'm taking in my media library and I'm going to pick Sarah. So Sarah, you're in. Okay, so Sarah's in. I want to change her position a little bit. She's a little high and stuff. Well, I don't know if she's high, but anyway, I want to change the position. So I'm going to move her top to the right. Okay, that's a little better. Now, I don't like the fact that this is not really what I want. I want to make the whole height of the section, I want to make it taller. So for that, I'm going to go back over here. I'm still in the section, and I'm going to go to height, and I'm going to adjust this to minimum height. I'm going to give her a little more height. Okay, there we go. So give her a little more height. Yeah, not too much. That's just fine. And okay, I'm going to leave it that way. I am also going to make this adjustment here. I am not going to use these social icons here. I don't like social icons at the top of the page because it's just an invitation for your visitors to leave your site. So I am going to save these as a global, meaning that I could reuse them later on anywhere I want in my site. Now, if you're familiar with Gutenberg, that would be a reusable block. So I'm just going to click on this little pencil or pen. I guess it's a pencil. And I'm going to also right click on it and save it and go right over here where it says save as global. Give it a name, and let's just call it social. Let's just call it socials and save it. And it's right over here. So it turns itself into its own widget, which I will use later on. Now that I don't need it, as I said, I'm just going to delete it. Right click, click delete, and I'm gone. The last thing I want to do here, or one of the last things anyway, is I want to move this column up because I just don't like the positioning. So to move things around, there's different techniques, but the one that I'm going to use here is to use a negative margin. So a negative top margin. So let's go. And I'm moving everything up just a little bit over here. Okay. All right. Now I also want to change the topography over here. So I just clicked into it, or I could just click over here. Either way, I clicked into the area of the heading. And yeah, it's a heading element over here. It happens to be an H2. Oh, they say this is, yeah, H2 element is fine. My title of the site will be an H1, so I'll leave it that way. And we'll get to that later on. Anyway, I want to change the topography, so that would be style, topography. And I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. Okay. Yeah, just a little bit bigger. I'm also going to change the font family to something really fancy, like Times New Roman. That's really fancy. And I am also going to change the weight, that is the boldness. So I'm going to use the scale over here of 800. Okay. And that's all I want to do. That's, fine for me. It's not really beautiful. I certainly wouldn't leave the text like this. I probably wouldn't even use this font, quite frankly, but that's all right. Okay. Now, one other thing I want to do is I like this color up here. Let's take a look at this background color. So the background color would be in the section. Click on the section over here. And I like this so much. I'm so in love with it that, and you can see it is a gradient, right? It moves from this color of tan to this color of tan. But I like this so much, and I'm going to reuse it later on, that I decided I'm going to store this or set this as a global color. And I do that clicking on this and then the little plus button over here, and I'm going to give it a name, okay? And I'm going to call it tan, and you're going to see later on where it shows up. Tan. Okay. So that's that. Okay. All right. Now you might be saying, oh, hey, what about mobile? This isn't going to work in mobile. Elementor has a really cool way of letting you change your mobile or how it looks in mobile. So I'm going to go right over here, click on this, and it has desktop, tablet, and mobile. Now, so let's just get right to tablet. And you say, oh, that's really not very good. Well, you can adjust it just for tablet. So let's do that. And we're going to just go right back over to background overlay. And you can see, now it doesn't put in the picture for some reason. I'm not really sure why. But I am going to use, before I use top right, well, now it's suggesting, why don't you use the XY properties of a background image and make the adjustment that way? So that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm going to move her over a little bit more and maybe position her just about like this over here. Now, what about like the height? Yeah, not that good. So for that, I'm just going to go back into layout. And again, this is just for tablet. And I'm going to change the height. Maybe I can go to default. Not sure. Let's see if I would want that. No, I definitely don't want that. I will go back to, let's go back to here. And let's see if we can do something with the height slider. Well, that's not good either, right? So I want to, yeah, we wouldn't really want that. Just a little bit. Now, a little bit more. Maybe that's enough, okay? And then again, you could adjust this too, just for mobile. So there's there's a lot of settings you can do, and I shouldn't say mobile. I'm really talking about tablets here. And that's okay. And this will not affect what it looks like in desktop. I'll show you that in a second. And then the other one I want to do is take a look at mobile, okay? And whoa, so look, this is kind of a cell phone thing. So I'm going to go back into style and again go into that overlay. And now there, I want to do the custom, okay, where they're going to give me the slider. Now, there's a couple things I could do. I actually could just get rid of her. Well, I don't want to get rid of her. I'm just going to leave her just the way she is. And just maybe move it a little bit over there, something like that. And then, of course, I can change the topography just for a mobile view or a tablet view. Now, let's make sure that yeah, that's okay. And let's just make sure that I didn't change anything, that desktop wasn't wrecked by doing this. And here's desktop, and it wasn't. Okay, so that's really nice. So you can get your desktop, your tablet, and your mobile just like that. That's pretty great. Okay, so wow, nice. So I'm going to go back to desktop. Now, by the way, you might be asking, what are the breakpoints for tablet and mobile? You can change that in Elementor. I don't particularly like the breakpoints that they're using by default, but they can be changed. And okay, how about this section over here? Okay, so for this section, I'm just going to click on section, and I am going to get to my widgets right over here, and I'm going to drag in the ubiquitous icons, okay? And I'm going to place it right over here. All right, perfect. And I love this so much that I am going to put them elsewhere in these other two columns. So I'm going to just do a copy, and I'm going to paste it in. Let's see, paste. It didn't go where I wanted, so I'm just going to drag it into position right over here. Just pick this icon. There you go. And then I'm going to, this time, do it a little bit differently. I'm going to just duplicate the star icon and just drag it into position over here, and I'm done with that. Now I want a call to action here, so I'm going to add buttons, and the way I'm going to do that is go back to where all my widgets are stored and go to the old buttons right over here. Okay, and I'm going to style this up a little bit. So I'm going to make this a little large because I have a hard time seeing things, so that's fine. And then I'm going to also put this, I'm going to centerize that over there. Now, if this was a real world situation, you would absolutely put your link in there to whatever you want to link to, okay? I'm going to change the color of the background, so that would be style of the button. And for the background color, let's use a global color. Now, I stored my global color here, tan. See that? That would not have been there before, except for the fact that I created a global color. Oh, well, that's okay. Of course, I would change the text color. Let's do that. So I'm going to go over here. I use another global over here. Fine. Okay. And I'm now going to create buttons over here. Now, let's do that. So I go over here, back to my widgets, grab a button, and I'm going to grab another button. And let's see, grab a button over here. And we're going to, okay. And for this, I don't have to start all over again with the style settings. All I have to do is just go over here, right click, copy, and then over here, right click, and paste styles. Oops, let's try it. Paste styles. And then let's paste styles over here. Same thing. What a time saver, right? And really, all you'd have to do at this point then is just click into here and just change your, anything you wanted to change, you can change. And of course, set your link that you want over here. So we're doing pretty good. Let's have a look. I am going to publish this. And now there's a couple ways you can look. You can look this way by just closing this down. And this gives you a pretty good look right off the bat. I'm going to bring this back. Or you can actually go to the page. Let's refresh. Okay, so that gives us another view. All right, one other thing I want to do, actually one last thing I want to do is add a section, okay, and use dynamic content for that section, and then turn that section into its own template. Wow. Okay, sounds really complicated. It's not. It's really useful though. So for that, I am going to click on this plus button over here, which will add a section. Okay, nice. Or give me the ability to add a section. It turns out I want a 2-column section. And in the first column, I want a text box over here. Now, I don't want this text just the way it is. I want to use dynamic text. So I'm going to click on over here and this little icon over here, and then go over here to user info. And click on user info. Perfect. And so the user info, what this is going to do is pull content from the database. What kind of content? The user's first name. So we're going to click on this little wrench, and it's little, and choose, sorry I missed that, first name. That's fine. And what do you know? My first name is there. Of course, it's because I'm a registered user and that information is stored in the database. And then I am going to do over here advanced. And I'm going to have some words in front of Bud, which would be hey. Okay, with a space, hey, space, Bud. And then after, I'm going to have comma. Okay, and then we'll say space, good to see you. And that's it. All right. I'm going to also go into go back to here to content, go to style. Well, let's just make sure I'm in the right place here. And I want this to be in the center. And I want this to be a little bit bigger, so that would be topography. And I'm just going to make the text a little bit bigger. All right. And over here on this side over here, this particular, in this column, I'm going to do a dynamic image. So what does that mean? Well, I'm going to first grab the image icon, put it in here. Okay. And again, look for that little dynamic. Okay. And I am going to choose from the options they give me, user. And because I have a gravatar, it shows up. Okay, that's fine. And last thing I'm going to do is I could apply a background color and all that stuff. I really don't need to, but I am going to take this whole section and save this as a reusable section or a template. So I can put this anywhere I want on my site. And for that, I am going to right click over here and where it says save as template, let's just call it user info. Okay, that's fine. All right, so I will have that as a reusable template for me that I just created because I want to maybe put this on other pages. And that's it. Now, it's not really it, but it's close to the it. So fine. Now, what this doesn't have, let's just take a look at what we have here, is it doesn't have a header and a footer. And I'm about to create both of those. So how do you do that? All right, let's get out of here. Let's go back to the familiar WP admin. Remember, Elementor is in the WP admin. It just absolutely obliterates it. It doesn't look like the WP admin, but it is. Okay. And I'm going to go over to templates, and I'm going to go to the theme builder. Okay. And I'm now going to create a header that's going to apply for the entire site and a footer that's going to apply for the entire site. So let's do the header first. And for that, I select, what do you want? And you have all kinds of like built-in templates already. So I'm going to start with the header. That makes kind of sense. I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to call it master header. Fine, master header. Save that. Okay. And you'll see this will look familiar. Well, I could choose from some of these headers, okay, if I wanted to, but I want to do my own thing. So I'm just going to get rid of this. And by doing my own thing, I am going to click over here and it's going to be a 2-column header yeah, perfect. And in the first one over here, I want to put in my site title. Okay, so for that, let's click on the widgets, site title right over here. And this will be pulled from the database. Of course, the title of the site, Words Are Us, is set by the fact that in your general settings, I have Words Are Us as the site title. So that's where that came from. And then as far as the navigation goes, I just clicked in over here and I want to use I could use a nav menu right here. So let's click on that. And that will tell me, now the first thing I have to do is make sure I have the right menu. Now I only have one menu, so that's easy. And I want this to show up too. It's going to be kind of, it's not really what I want in terms of style. So I click on this section and I'm going to apply a background color to the section. And that would be, let's just use one of these globals here. I'll use that over here. And of course, I wouldn't want the text to be like that, right? That doesn't make any sense. So back to the heading I go, and I am now going to change the text color, and we'll just make that white. And I think what I could do, well, for here, I'm going to do the same thing. Click on over here for the widget, that is the nav menu widget, and go over here and change that to, so you can see you can do hover, active, so for different, states of a link. I'm just going to make this nice and simple and do this white, and that's fine. And now I'm going to save this, and I am going to, yeah, and I want to make sure, I don't think I was sort of falling asleep at the switch there. So I want to make sure that this is going to display for the entire site. Let's have a better look at that. So I clicked on this little chevron over here, display conditions, and I didn't do anything. See, I didn't think so. So let's do add condition, entire site. Now I think I'll have it right. And let's have one last check of that just to make sure. This is really important. Display conditions, there it is. Okay, so I can click out of this. I don't need this anymore. And I am going to have a look over here. Perfect. It's exactly what I wanted. Now I know, you can make adjustments and stuff, but you get the idea. And I have all my pages. Not going to click on all this yet. Let's add the footer. And for that, I'm going to go sort of rinse and repeat. I'm going to go back to where I was in my Elementor theme builder. Okay, so here's the one I just created. Let's add one more. This time, let's select footer. And I am going to do master footer, save. And this time for the footer, I don't need this over here. So you can see here's the footer. I'm sorry, here's the header. Here's the content area. And then here is going to be where my footer is going to be. Okay. And I want 3. In this first one over here, I'm just going to click over here. That gets me to my widgets. The first one over here, I actually want to use those social icons. Remember that I saved those? I did that for a reason. So I'm just going to drag those in over here. I don't want to edit them or anything or unlink. This is the way you can edit this. That would apply across the entire site. Or if you unlinked it, it would be just for this particular page. I could just bypass all that. Here, I'm going to put in some text. And I would like to make this a little bit, let's see. Let's go over to the column. Yeah. And in the, column. And I would like to vertically align this to the middle. Okay. And I'm also going to just do the same thing here now. I'm just going to copy this. And I'm going to duplicate or paste. Okay, and then I'm going to, let's just do the style too. I'm going to copy and then paste style. Did I do paste style? Let's see. Oh, I know what I'm doing wrong. You want to copy the column. That's where the positioning is. So I'm going to copy that, and then I'm going to paste the style for the column. All right, much better. And I could put a background in there. Yeah, let me do that. So real quick, I'm going to put a background over there and style and background color. Oops, background. No, I don't want a gradient. Background color. Here we go. And okay. And of course, I would change that to white, but it's good enough for us. And we're going to publish this. Now, again, where do you want this to apply? Now, I didn't really explain it last time. I just went to entire site and that's it. If I click on this over here, you can apply these theme builder templates to different parts of your site, whether it's archive pages or singular pages. You could actually get very granular. You want to apply something just to a specific page or post or custom post type or anything like that. We're going to keep this nice and simple. I'm just going to do the entire site, and then I am going to save. Okay, so now we have our header, our master header, the content area, and the footer. And I'm going to have a look over here. And there's our footer right over here. Now I could give this a little more, padding or margins, space over here, but this is good enough for our demonstration. Actually, I do want to create a little space over there. So let's do that. So I'm now going to just go right over here into Elementor, and you're going to see something that is very instructive, I think, and that is, so this is a section, all right, but notice it's got a different color. It's, I guess, yellow, or it's orangey, whatever. The only way to edit this is to click on this, and I'm going to do it and just show you. And now I could edit this, but I can't edit anything over here. So it's sort of a way of just keeping it straight. Now I'm going to be able to edit my master header, and if I do so, this will apply across the entire site. Well, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to hit the back button over here, and let's go back to, and you can see also you could go directly into editing the master header and footer just by clicking on this, but I am going to do that little change I wanted to do, and that is, I want to add some space around here because I just didn't like that, especially at the bottom. So I am going to put in some margin for that section at the bottom. So I want to unlink this, and I want to go to the bottom and just add. Now I'm just going to, instead of clicking, I'm just going to put in, let's say, 50 pixels. And by the way, you can change the pixels, M's, all kinds of units of measurement. That's a whole nother discussion. So let's just have a quick look over here. We'll just do this in a preview, and I'm going to do this right over here. Okay, so much for the quick look. And yeah, I just gave it a little more space. But one last thing. So I'm just going to go to the About Us page. And you'll see About Us. That's perfect. There's your header, your master footer. But I want to do one other thing, and I'm going to edit with Elementor. Well, when you click on this, you notice I can't click, nothing happens, because that link doesn't become active unless and until you edit the page first with Elementor. Okay, so to do that, just going to edit the page, go to the Gutenberg way of doing things. Now choose Edit, and you'll see why I'm doing this in a second. Because remember, I created a template that was not a global template, okay? And I'm going to, or that is a site-wide template. It was just a, well, let me just show you. So we go over here, we go to My Templates, and yeah, I create a master header, master footer, but user info. That's the one I want to insert right here. And of course, I could edit this now. I could do anything I want. Come back. I could put, of course, I'd put content above, below, whatever, but you get the idea. And with that, you've now seen how to use templates. I didn't really create anything for this. I just used templates, did some editing, and away I went. And that's it.